you too. So,
Vale.
yeah, I'm gonna let them in.
Okay.
You will guard the gate, right?
I am the guardian. The protector. That's the kind I was on that test too that I took.
Hello. I will take you, I will unmute us all. How are you all? Happy end of phase 0, right? Phase 1 tomorrow, is that it?
That's right.
What does that mean? Phase 2 tomorrow.
Phase 1.
Really? Depends on maybe where you are.
Some areas in Spain enter already phase 2. Madrid is phase 1 tomorrow.
And that means groups of 10 people will be able to get together and
Maintain
something.
social distance.
I received an email from somebody asking if we could start meeting in person up to 10 people at Saladana. After our meditation, I do want to have a little talk about that and kind of get a survey of what people think is safe and would like to do and stuff. Yeah. Anna Monica, are you monitoring the waiting room, or would you like me to do it?
I can. I was trying to see the YouTube live, which I show we're live, but I don't. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yes, I can take over. Roger that.
Like to do and stuff. So tell me something, anything from Spain.
We miss you here.
What's that?
We miss you here.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Carlos. That's very kind of you to say that. Yeah, maybe I was going to talk about this after, but my work here, my business, I'm just trying to stabilize it so that I won't feel so guilty if I just leave. I have a business where I have partners, and they've been very kind. They've let me live in Spain for 5 years because everything has been wonderful. But now that it's not so wonderful, they're not complaining, but I don't want to feel guilty. So anyways, I think June, I definitely need to stay, but my goal is to be able to come back in July. Which doesn't mean that we have to wait until July for Saladana to open, but I really want to get a consensus on that. I do not want to spread any coronavirus through Saladana. We could talk about that after. Meanwhile, we will meditate. Last week, I realized in the middle of the new kind of body scan that we did, that I had forgot our arms until the end. So for those of you who are really paying attention then and today, you'll notice it'll be slightly different today. I mean, we got to our arms, but we did them last when obviously they're connected in the middle of the body. They should have been sooner. But again, I'm going to try to use Bhikkhu who? What's his name? Brain freeze. No, Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Oof. I'm going to try to use his method or his order rather than the way we've been doing it, either from the head to the toes or from the toes to the head. This time, again, we're going to start at the navel. And that'll be basically the only differences. Again, we'll do a slightly different body scan. One that's really been passed down for, gosh, almost 100 years in the Theravada Thai forest tradition.
Oh.
Yeah, we still got people coming. There we go. I'm going to mute you, Anna Monica, if you're going to sing.
Oh, sorry. I just took yoga. I still have chanting in my my heart.
Anna Monica does a yoga class right before this, where the man chants
Really
the
lovely.
gods, Shiva and Krishna and stuff like that. Quite nice. Highly recommend him. His name is Rusty Wells, and he's one of the best yoga teachers I know in the world. He's living in Mexico right now. And it may be a little bit noisy. We're right in the heart of the city of San Francisco in the Mission District, which would be kind of synonymous to Lavapiés. So it can get kind of noisy. This morning we've had somebody using gas-powered blower to clean the sidewalks and stuff like that. I could still hear him out there. But you know, if noise is calling your attention strongly, we can just use the sounds as our object, right? We don't need to fight it. Just, okay, I'm going to listen to a leaf blower for a while. You know, that's going to be my object. Okay. Our waiting room is empty. So, does anybody want to say anything? Any questions, comments before we meditate? No? Okay. I'm going to mute you, and I may mute myself just between instructions por si acaso. There's a lot of noise here. I will hopefully manage that with some competence. Okay. Meet you guys. Okay. So, as always, find a comfortable posture. We're going to meditate for 30 minutes. And so you want a posture that's comfortable, but yet still erect, with a sense of dignity, right? With the back straight, maybe the head tilted ever so slightly downward in a noble but yet humble gesture. And let's start again with a couple of deep breaths. Thanissaro Bhikkhu recommends this even for the most experienced of meditators, to start off with a couple of deep breaths. So just bringing that air in all the way down into the belly and out. This is so useful, you know, we can clean and clear and calm our nervous system with a deep breath at any time, really. So now to ground ourselves in this present moment, embody our attention. Let's start with our body scan, beginning with the area of the navel. So what we want to do is just feel, experience, notice the area of the navel. And notice the breath there, the movement, the rising and falling of the belly. And if there's any tension here or anywhere in the body, try to relax the area, release the area, let go of the area. And now moving to the lower right side of the belly. Just imagine feeling it, sensing it. And then moving to the left lower side of the belly. And if there's thought, or if it's difficult to let go of the thought, that's okay. Just do what you can, maybe coming back and forth. And now let's go to the upper side area of the torso. So we're near the chest, kind of on the side, sort of underneath the armpit. Just trying to feel that area. All the while aware of the breath. Moving to the left side area. And now the solar plex area, the solar plexus right in between the chest, above the navel. And maybe even now there might be sensation in the entire belly area that you might be aware of. And now from the solar plexus, let's rise up to the throat. Feeling the throat. Noticing if there's any tightness. Keeping in mind and awareness the breath. And then rising up to the head. Try to imagine feeling from the inside of the head, inside of the cranium. And imagine air, breath, life force just coming in and out of the various orifices of the head, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, as well as the nose. But not in any tense way, just very relaxed, almost like the cells are absorbing the air. Absorbing and releasing, letting go. And now let's go to the base of the neck and the back, the top of the spinal cord, where it connects to the head. And then moving to the right shoulder. Notice if there's any tension in the right shoulder. Sometimes we get so tense, our shoulders feel like they're wrapped up around our ears. Just let them drop, relax. Dropping down into the upper arm area of the right arm. Feeling your upper arm, your lower arm, your hand. Now moving to the left shoulder. Same thing, feeling the left shoulder, noticing any tension. Let them relax, drop. Now the upper left arm. The lower left arm. The hand. And just imagine breath moving through the arms, coming in through the fingers, going out through the shoulders or the other way, just filling and infusing your arms and your shoulders with life energy. And now let's do the same with the spinal cord. Just feeling the whole back body centered on the spinal cord, down to the lumbar region, up through the shoulder blades and out the base of the skull. This alone can be a meditation practice where we just follow the breath through and down and back up the spinal cord. Then dropping to our right hip area, feeling the area of the hip. And the buttocks area, the sit bones, the right area, right side. The right leg, the upper leg, lower leg, foot, left side hip. Again, feeling the hip. Maybe there's a sense of lightness there or heaviness. Left buttock. And here we may notice the points of contact where the body is making contact with the chair or the cushion or the couch, whatever it might be. In the left upper leg, left lower leg, and the foot. And with the legs, the same as we did with the arms and the spinal cord, where just try to imagine breath moving through these parts. Coming in maybe through the feet. You can imagine it coming out at the hips or maybe going back down and out the feet, whatever feels most comfortable. It's very important that it's comfortable, it's relaxing. Try not to force anything. And if it doesn't come easily, no problem. And then give your whole body a little bath in awareness. Try to feel the whole posture. Notice the body breathing. Notice the body moving. So I'm going to be much more quiet now as we practice with the breath. Wherever it feels most comfortable to you and is the most enjoyable way to notice your breath. It might be at one spot, the nose, the belly, or it might be the whole body breathing, a wide open awareness. You can play with it, see what is most enjoyable. And if the breath is a bit of a struggle, you can just focus on the posture itself, the physical sensation of sitting, or sounds. Just being aware of sounds coming and going. Whatever will support you in relaxing the body, relaxing the mind, relaxing the heart. Each time we notice we're thinking is another moment to come back to the present moment. It's a moment of being awake once again. If you are experiencing really stubborn thoughts, stubborn thinking, obsession, worry, you might try a wide open awareness in the body to try to imagine you can absorb the emotional energy that might be producing the thought. Just really ground yourself into the body and see if that calms, at least for a while, the thinking mind. And now, no matter where your attention has been, let's return to the body. Maybe starting again with the belly, feeling the belly. And feeling the whole torso of the body, feeling the torso with attention, with awareness, with kind, loving awareness. And extending it out to include the limbs and the head, the whole posture, the whole physical form. And then if you can, moving the attention out a little beyond the physical form, beyond the skin, into the energy field. Just holding your whole body in awareness. And then imagining that we can extend our awareness to envelop, to include everybody on this call today, meditating together, practicing, not only for their own individual benefit, but for the benefit of all beings. This is such a noble gesture, I think, that we do this. I think the world would be a much different place if everybody did this. Just kind of keeping that in mind, close to our heart, thanking everybody for their practice, thanking ourselves for our practice. And then when you hear the sound of the bell, just noticing what might arise. A thought, gosh, I wish it could have gone on longer, or wow, that was a long time, or whatever might arise, and any sensations in the body as well. Well, thank you very much for supporting my practice, for helping me stay in the here and the now. Oh, somebody took off my glasses, and then somebody, okay, thank you, Nuha, sent a message. So I can't read without my glasses. So yeah, what I feel drawn to talk about today really is practice. I had a very nice interview with my mentor. His name is Subacho, and he was a monk for 20 years in the Ajahn Chah Thai forest tradition, 10 years in Thailand and 10 years in England. And so he is a meditation master, right? He knows meditation very well. And we will be very lucky, be honored to have him in 2 weeks' time. He is going to lead us on the Sunday English speaking sit, this one. So that'll be on June, I think it's June 7th or thereabouts. Meanwhile, he really helped me clarify some things in my practice, and in which I think you guys can either benefit or not based upon my understanding, right? If I don't understand, if I'm confused, then I'm going to probably impart confusion on to you guys. And so it was nice to get some clarity, especially around the sensations of the body, the energy body, which I've just started talking about over this last month, which was really brought to my attention in that way by Rob Burbia, the amazing teacher from England who recently passed, who some of us know. Martina has worked with him, and maybe Darren, I see Darren there, where he really talks about the energy body, right? So we got the physical body and emotional body, and we have this energy body. And Suva Cho likes using the word qi for that, right? Which probably many of you are familiar with the word qi from Tai Chi or Qi Gong. It is considered, especially in the Chinese Tao tradition, of being our life force energy, right? And it is possible to feel it. It's possible to direct it. You know, in Sanskrit, they might call it prana. So if you have a yoga tradition, you might be familiar with the word prana, and I'm quite sure they really are the same thing, prana and chi. I haven't actually seen, somebody say yes they are, but I'm quite sure that it's the same thing. It's this life energy, this I've often tried to wonder what could it possibly be in a Western medical term. Maybe it's white blood cells or something. I have no idea, but it's this energy that we can direct with our attention. I don't know if any of you have done Tai Chi, or Qi Gong, where just with our awareness, we can move, right? Our body, focus on something, and you feel it, like a sensation of aliveness in that area where you put your attention. Now, when we're sitting, we're not moving our hands, we're not moving our legs, but we can move our awareness, just like we did in the body scan, right? And so we can move the chi, we can move the prana, we can move the life force, or at least it feels like that, with our awareness. Whether we're actually moving it or whether it's always there, but we become aware of it, right? And then with practice, we can even start to feel it. You can feel this tingling. I don't know if, like in Spanish, I don't know if the word would be like hormigueo. I don't know if that can someone tell me, do hormigueos have a pleasant feeling tone, or are they unpleasant? Are they pleasant hormigueos or neutral? I'm getting a thumbs up from a couple people, okay? Or then Lewis had a thumbs down, I think. Or cosquilleos. I mean, it really should, it's a tough word, okay? For most people, I think the sensation is rather pleasant. It's pleasurable, right? And we can cultivate that. Now, here's why I think this is important. For most of us, theoretically, when something is pleasant, then we're going to be more inclined to pay attention to it, right? We will enjoy paying attention to it. And so this will calm the mind, right? Because as soon as we get out of the thinking process of the mind, the worrying, the planning, the judging, and all that kind of stuff, and allow the mind to become more still still, right? Then we relax. It's our thinking, our worrying, our judging, our planning, even just our analyzing, even trying to make a choice, trying to decide is what agitates the mind. Right? And when the mind is agitated and the body gets agitated, we run the risk of getting into even a downward spiral, a feedback loop, where the mind gets tense, the body gets tense, it gets contracted, we get irritable, we get angry, we get fearful. We can really just go in a downward spiral. So when we direct the attention to something we enjoy, now the breath also, the beautiful breath, as Ajahn Amaro calls it, can be so pleasant for some people. They just love how it feels following the breath. And then for others, it's neutral, or even it can be somewhat agitating because it is movement, right? There is this movement. It won't sit still. And well, it can, with deep enough meditation, actually, it almost gets to the point where the lungs stop really breathing in an obvious way. And it's almost like the body just breathes through its cells. But that's way deep meditation, right? But for some reason, for some people, the breath can be a little bit irritating. And for some people, it'll even pick up and it'll move too quickly and so forth. So we can expand away from the breath, you might say, into the body, into the posture. And if we're lucky, or with practice, we start to notice this chi, this prana, this life force energy that's in the body. Some people, might call it, and I think I've called it this, and I'm not 100% sure it's correct or not, but I call it piti. Piti, as some of you know, many of you know, is one of the 7 factors of awakening. Often translated in Spanish just simply as alegría, but it can also be raptura, rapture. And it's a very pleasant sensation. It's an energizing sensation that comes when the mind starts to concentrate. And it is possible that these are all the same thing, basically. Chi, prana, piti, life force. And so with practice, and I don't know, like for me during this lockdown, I've been practicing a couple hours a day. Usually when I'm busy, maybe I practice an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, but I've been doing at least 2 hours a day now. And as a result of the additional practice, I believe, I have become more aware of this pleasant sensation in the body. I think it is something that isn't so obvious if you're just meditating once a week on Sunday for 30 minutes, right? And it may not come, it might, but it might not. But if you're doing it every day, it's a cultivation, a bhavana, right? It's something that we practice, we cultivate, and then it becomes more and more obvious. Now, when we put the attention on something that is pleasant like this, that is enjoyable, we also can create a feedback loop. Right? Does everybody know what feedback loop is, right? Do we have anybody who's confused about that term? Okay. And so what can happen is we put this is our attention and this is the object. We put our attention on something that's pleasant, that we enjoy, whether it's the breath, whether it's this chi, this prana, and then it sends a message because it's enjoyable to the mind, to the attention, and it creates this piti, this alegría, this happiness that then magnifies it. And it can even get to the point where it's kind of like, whoa, this is too intense. This is, I get that, where I'm like, ugh, stop, it's too much. So I got to expand my awareness a little more, or a lot of times my mind will just start to think, it's like, stop. And so it'll think, and that'll shut it off for sure. I think it also comes from conditioning where pleasant wasn't necessarily encouraged, right? In my household, you did things because you wanted to avoid punishment, but there were very few rewards. There were very few pleasant moments. It was mostly just neutral or painful. And so I think one thing I've been practicing with is just trying to be with the pleasant, be with what I enjoy, stay with it, right? Don't, because it's almost like for me, it'll go from pleasant and then there'll be aversion to it. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. I'm not used to that, right? So I'll pull away. And so I'm just trying to cultivate more and more the ability to stay with it. And we can manipulate it. It's maybe a little strong of a word, but it seems like we can infuse, for instance, this pleasant sensation into the body, into the limbs, into the feet and the hands, into the head, and even into the energy field, right? And then it's not so strong, but it's very broad, and it just feels like it's holding you in a little bubble of just loving, pleasant awareness, right? And I run the risk of some of these things that I'm saying, I realize are much more easy to obtain in a retreat. It's just very, very hard in our regular day-to-day life to be able to get settled this much, right? Even for me still, the first 20 minutes of my morning practice, my brain is just, thinking away. And I have to go through it. I have to stay with it, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And normally after 20, 25 minutes, finally, my mind gets the message. Okay, and then I'll stay in the body. I'll stay with the breath. But it's still, after 12, 13 years of practice, it still takes me 20 minutes to settle down. And so in the morning, in the evening, I tend to be able to get there a little bit quicker, but I don't know. First thing in the morning, it's like, and I don't have any coffee or anything. That's just sleepy mind, but it still wants to think. So I have to do a longer sit, really, in order to get to that place where I'm really getting the benefit, of it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything more I want to say. I'm sure stuff will come up, but what I'd like to do is open it up to talk about meditation, right? So if you have any questions or any comments, anything that works for you, has worked for you, if you've read it, I'd love to hear if anybody has learned anything, read anything, heard anything about chi and prana and piti and this life force energy. I'd love to hear more about that. So maybe what I'll do, stay on mute, but if you do have a comment or you want to say something, you can raise your hand. Since we're 2 pages, if you could use the electronic one, that'll put you to the top of the participants list. So if you go to the bottom of the participants list, then there's a little button where you could say, raise your hand. So yeah, or you could do what Javier's doing, which is just raise his hand in the photo and I'm able to see it. So I'm gonna put you on. There you go, Javier, adelante. Oh, wait, what happened? There you go.
I want to say that I'm not very agree with, as you said, because in my experience, sometimes, well, I've studied several years in a good school of healing with energy, with the hands, and so I am sensitive with the energy, and sometimes yes, the sensation in the body is pleasant, but sometimes the sensation are not very unpleasant, because there are blocks in your chakras, on your meridians. So sometimes there is pain. So it's sometimes it's difficult. But
thank you.
I'm agreeing with you that it's very important. The author of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, said also to feel the energy is very important to be present. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Javier. And thank you for bringing that up, because that is so important. Yes, there can be a lot of pain. There can be a lot of emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain, caused as a result of blockages, caused as a result of other causes and conditions, trauma, and so forth. Absolutely. And that's, yeah, I don't want to imply that this pleasant experience is there for everybody all the time. We're all ready to, we're on our own paths, each one of us, and we each have our own causes and conditions that have brought us here, thankfully. But yet we still might have these blockages, these pain bodies, as Eckhart Tolle calls them, present, that we need to work through. What I want to add, though, is I'm going to use the word muscle. It doesn't mean that that's actually the right word, or habit of coming back and staying with an object, concentration, okay, samadhi, combined with the sati, with the mindfulness, is what we need to apply to the pain bodies as well. Okay. Now, sometimes the trauma is so great that simple mindfulness is not enough. It is true. We need help. We need to maybe go to a therapist, or we need to do some somatic experiencing, which is shaking and things like this, maybe with the guidance of an experienced practitioner. There's many other things we need to do, and we can't bypass them. This is one of the things that I've seen, is where they call it a spiritual bypass, where people think they can go straight from their traumatized, angry, blocked, stuffed state straight to meditation and then bliss. It don't work like that. We got to go through the shit. We got to go through the pain. We got to feel it. We got to experience it. We got to release it. Right? There's no shortcut. It's, we might be here, bliss and happiness might be there, and there's a whole lot of crap in between, and we can't go like this. It just doesn't work like that. But let's say we're to a point where the trauma isn't so great that when we sit and we practice, it doesn't come up, or it comes up over time. What'll happen is it'll start to come up in manageable levels, in manageable amounts, right? Maybe at first it's too much, and then we stay we don't dive right in. I'm really glad Javier brought this up, because this is so important. We started off putting our attention into our belly, and we stayed right there in the belly. Well, that's a lot of times, and here in the chest, this is where the trauma resides oftentimes. It might be in the extremities as well, but a lot of times, like shame is something we often keep in the lower belly, right? Fear and anxiety and stuff we keep in the chest. And so when we do these scans, we do run the risk of going into emotional pain, going into trauma, in which case, it can overwhelm us, right? So we do need to be careful with that. If it's too much, and this is something I'm saying for now and into the future, if it's too much, don't dive into the middle of it. You know, you can just kind of be at the edges of it, or maybe it's not for today. Maybe it's for another time. And so you don't go in there. What is interesting about the body, I find though, is it generally knows how much we can tolerate at any one time. And I love this teaching by a man named Harville Hendricks. Others say it too, but he's a couples specialist here in the United States. And he says that it is nature's way to want to heal. Nature wants to heal, and nature will continue to try to heal until it is healed. It'll keep trying. So we're nature, right? We're just a part of nature. We're no different than a forest or animals or whatever, this planet. And so when the body is wounded, whether it's a physical wound or an emotional, spiritual wound, it'll keep trying to heal. It'll keep trying to find ways. And it seems most of the time to know when it's appropriate to rise, to become noticeable. So like maybe if you're on retreat and you're starting to settle and you've got good concentration, or maybe now, right, because we're at home, the body will almost sense an opportunity to release a little bit of trauma, release a little bit of pain body, so we can feel it with our awareness and we can help it break up. We can help it discharge. Some people are not sure exactly that's how it works, but it seems to work like that. We put our kind, loving awareness on it. We hold it like a little baby, right? And it just seems to relax. It's like the trauma itself feels seen, feels heard, feels understood, and relaxes. You know, I've had opportunities, I guess I might say, where the pain was so deep that it was not connected to thought or to voice. Like maybe it was something that happened to me when I was a baby, right? But I was able to feel it in this nervous system, in the chitta, the mind, body, and the nervous system, and lagrimas, tears like this big dropped from my eyes. Kaboom, kaboom. It was incredible. And it's like I came out of that sitting a different person. And it was only awareness. I had done nothing else but just feel what my body seemed to be asking me to feel. So I see our time is getting close to the end here. So I just want to summarize, because I'm really glad Javier brought this up. There may not be this pleasant sensation, and it may very well be that we have, you know, you guys, us, we have to go through a certain amount of pain first, and then more and more it'll start to arise. And the only way, as I know it, maybe there's other ways, but I'm not aware of it. The only way to really discharge, unblock, cure, heal these pain bodies is to feel them, to experience them, to embrace them when we can. You know, if it's too much, you just wait, you back off, you try something different. Maybe you do metta, you know, whatever. Okay, is there anybody who would like to say something? I noticed, let's see, were there any questions? Okay, no. Anybody? Not Joe. Hold on. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I'm going to make my question. It's like I always ask about the same topic, but yeah, like managing physical pain in meditation, it seems so easy, you know, or it can be so easy in comparison to when emotional pain arises. So what would your suggestions be for when we are experiencing these emotional pains in meditation? Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. You know, again, I think the process is pretty much the same as with the physical pain, where we don't push it away. But again, depending on the intensity of it, if it's not too intense, we can just feel it. Just let it become the object, right? And we feel it with our awareness, with our object, with our attention. Now, if it's really intense, then maybe we just kind of feel around it, or we touch it, we back off, we touch it, we back off. One thing that's for sure is if it's emotional pain that's been there a long time, we're going to cry. This is God's way or nature's way of helping us discharge emotional pain. This is why we cry, right? It's like we go to the bathroom to discharge, right? Toxic physical stuff, and we use our tears to discharge emotional toxicity. So we will cry. I think it was Ajahn Chah that even said, if you have never cried when you've meditated, you've never meditated. I mean, it's a pretty strong statement, but it's true. I went through a period where I cried every meditation for like a year. I mean, I just did. I used to imagine I had, you know, I don't know what it would be. It would be like a 10-liter bucket of toxic pain in my body that left drop by drop, drip by drip. I love, and you know, one teacher said, and let the tears touch your cheeks. Don't wipe. Don't do this. Because when they drop and they hit your cheeks and they roll down your cheeks, you send a message to the body, you're crying. You're doing the right thing. You're discharging this toxic pain. We don't want to stop it. We don't want to go like this. Let it drip. That's what I do. And I let it become the object, right? I feel the path of the tear, right? Plop, plop. You know, sometimes they'll just hang there, you know, off the chin or whatever. But I mean, it sounds horrible. And, you know, probably in Spain, as in the United States, crying is not, people don't like it. In part because they feel their own pain. They don't want to feel their pain. They're like, stop crying. You know, I can't take it. But that's how we get rid of, that's one of the ways we get rid of grief, right? That's one of the ways we grieve. It's the primary way, really. I mean, when it's really severe, you know, the shaking, the body shakes. We do the somatic experiencing, which is a school you can look up online. Peter Levine was the founder of that, but sometimes it's so bad we shake. Maybe that goes on for 6 months, a year, whatever, and then we could start to cry. It depends. People are different, you know, and how they discharge this toxic energy that's blocked up in our bodies. But this is the path. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. It's through it. You know, if it's too much, maybe it's touched back, you know, it's a little bit through, come back, a little bit through, come back. But we got to go through it. Thank you, Nacho, for your question. We just have 5 minutes. Okay, Luis, we'll do one more and then we'll do a little metta.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, I lost the connection, so maybe I'm going to ask something that another person has already done. But a couple of things. One is I'm starting to learn about the energy circle. So this is the second time I hear this. But to me, it's quite difficult to feel that energy cycle. However, I will put more effort on that, because it seems that it will take us outside our body and expand and the feeling, and take us to the infinite space or something like that. And the other comment, would you say that you were describing the first jhana when you were talking about piti? Because I was expecting you to immediately mention sukha. I haven't felt this yet, but what I learned from my lectures, that what you were saying is quite similar to the descriptions of other masters do about the first jhana. Is it true?
Okay, thank you, Luis. First, I'll say regarding your practice, energy is one of the factors of awakening as well, and it comes before the piti. But we don't want to put too much energy. This is part of the practice, is to try to find out what's the right amount of energy, what's the right amount of fuerza also that you might use. I find really relaxing, and this might be because of my personality, I really need to relax and use less energy for the piti, for the chi, for the sensation to arise. If I press down too hard, like concentrate too hard, forget it. I'm not going to get that pleasant sensation. It's really almost like the relaxing itself is what produces the piti, at least for me. And that's something you practice with, is what's the right amount of application of energy. Okay, so that's the first, hopefully an answer to your first question. The second question is, yes, piti and sukha are two of the 5 factors of the first jhana, the first state of absorption. And the retreat that I listened to from Ra Burbea, and I recommend it to you, it's on Dhamma Seed, and might be able to find it on Gaia House, it was over December. It was a jhana retreat. And he was even saying that we can use the piti as a springboard or as an object to bring us to the first jhana, where you might have sukha and the other factors. However, having said that, the chances of us being able to enter into a jhana in a home practice, doing it even 2 hours a day, is probably very, very low. You really need many days, many days, even weeks, sometimes, to get the appropriate amount of calmness. Now, just to be fully transparent, I have never actually absorbed. My mind just doesn't seem to go there very easily. I have experienced piti sukha together. I've experienced a nimitta, a little light and stuff, but I myself have never absorbed. So I can't really teach beyond what I know myself. But I do know that they call it in the Theravada tradition access concentration, where like I'm at the door knocking, but it doesn't open for me. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. I highly recommend, though, the retreat, the instructions that Rob Burbea gives in that retreat. It's lovely, even though you're not at it. But.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we're now at a quarter of. Are people okay? I know some people have to go. Joe, you have to go. Why? I wanted to talk about Saladana, but maybe we'll do it next week then. We'll do it next week, because I wanted your input, Joe, but I understand. Oh, do you want to talk? You want to say something?
I put my feedback in my short little comment. I have 1 vote for 9 people sanghas.
Say that again.
In my little comment of saying goodbye, I wrote my feedback on my vote that 9 people sanghas should restart.
Oh, okay. All right. Excellent. Do you? I don't remember. Do you have a key?
No.
You don't have a key. Okay. I forget who has the keys, or some people I know, but okay. Okay, thank you, Joe. Sorry,
Bye,
we'll miss
everyone.
you. So so why don't we do just a short metta meditation for those who want to, and then we can open it up, maybe talk as a group, or we'll just do the small groups. We'll have a little vote as to whether we'll talk as a big group or little group. But first, why don't we close up the meeting with a little metta and a dedication of the merit, okay? So for those of you who might be unfamiliar with this practice, we're going to offer wishes. We're going to offer phrases to ourselves and others of goodwill. Also, sometimes we say in English, loving kindness. So let's start with ourself today. The first person pronoun we will use. May I be well and healthy. So you could just say it to yourself or any phrase that works better for you. May I be well and healthy. May I be safe and protected. May I live with ease. May I be happy. And now let's offer metta, goodwill, to those people who have been severely affected by the coronavirus, those people who are on the front lines, taking care of others, serving us at risk, those who have lost somebody, who have been sick. May they be well and healthy. May they be safe and protected. May they live with ease. May they be happy. And now let's offer metta, goodwill, loving kindness to somebody in our lives who we're having difficulty with. Maybe they said something or did something that hurt our feelings. We have a resentment towards them. I'm going to use the he pronoun, he. May he be well and healthy. May he be safe and protected. May he live with ease. May he be happy. And now all beings. So just try to imagine we could send out this goodwill, this loving kindness to all beings in all directions without exception. May all beings be well and healthy. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings live with ease. May all beings be happy. And now let's dedicate the merit or share, offer the merit of our practice today, the teachings, our Buddha nature, and our Sangha to the benefit of all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence and discrimination, and free from coronavirus. And may all beings find their path, find that holds them and helps them heal their traumas, their griefs. May all beings be free. Well, thank you. So I'm in no hurry. First, let me see. We got a few chats here. Okay. Oh, wow. Anna Monica found something about tears. That's interesting in Psychology Today. So I think what I'll do now is I'll unmute us all and we can talk amongst ourselves or put something out into the room. I am curious about any thoughts anybody has about Saladhana. Before we let anybody in there, I would like to install the sink that was intended to go into the new disabled room, the one that we put the toilet in. So for that, I will need some help, at least somebody with keys, giving keys to the contractor who hopefully can do the work. So that's a request that I have. But so why don't I open up the room and then, yeah, let's see what people have to say. And then if any of you want to do small groups afterwards, I'm happy to form some small groups so we can share amongst ourselves. Let's see, unmute everybody. Okay. Nacho, I think, did your hand come up?
Yeah, if you need anything, I'm available for helping.
Okay, do you have keys?
No, I would have to pick up the key somewhere. I don't have one.
Okay, Nuha, do you have keys?
Yes, I do. I was just texting Anna Monica about the keys. I could give the keys to the person.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Jim, do you want to turn off YouTube Live?
Or
not yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, so yeah, is there anybody who has a strong feeling? Like, I've asked this question a couple times in the past, and both times the answer kind of was July, not sooner than July. But then I got a request up to 10 people sooner than July. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about that. You know, I'm not going to be able to be there, so it really will depend on you guys managing it. But I'm open to what people would like to do. Or not. Any strong opinions? Let's see, Martina. Oh, Martina's putting the jhana retreat. Luis, is Luis still with us? Yeah.
Yes.
Luis, check out the in the chat room. Martina, I think, has included the jhana retreat that you might want to connect to and listen to. Okay, well, if no strong feelings, then I think what I'll do is I'll just try to push along with the sync. And who knows, it might take a month to get that done from here, but hopefully not. And meanwhile, if you guys want to do small groups, I'll just form some small groups and you guys can share. They'll be for roughly 7 minutes, groups of 3. Sound all right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
My pleasure. Okay, if nobody bails, whoop, I'm gonna do 5 then. See what happens. Okay, here we go.